Hey everyone, welcome back to the Art2Life podcast. Super excited to be here with amazing artist, heart-centered leader, author, philanthropist, visionary, amazing friend and fellow inspirer, Danielle LaPorte. Danielle, thanks so much for being here. I have this huge list of things to read about you were a member of the Oprah's Super Soul 100, former director of future studies think tank in Washington, D.C. You've got all kinds of amazing things that we'll get into, but I don't have my glasses on, so I can't totally read them. So we're just going to go with that and we'll start. But I want to double click on heart-centered because that's how I think of you, and it's a privilege to have you here today. So thanks for being here.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And we're going to make some art, which is no stranger to you. So you guys, we're making art. You're welcome to join us. We're using acrylic and all kinds of things. And I forgot to get you little scratchy tools, but
that's okay.
Okay.
I can feel. Look,
you
there's
can find
things
some
here.
things.
There's things.
Okay.
There's things.
Danielle's a scratcher gouger. I know because she came and we made some art together, and she's like, I need some screwdrivers. I need some things. So this is pretty cool. This is like a knife. This is like a Italian pizza cutter.
I want it.
Are you? I know you're from Vancouver. You're Vancouver based, but what's your ethnicity?
French Canadian.
French Canadian.
Mutt,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How are you doing?
Well, we've been jamming for 4 days on life and business, and I feel like my practice is I never say I'm overwhelmed. I just say I'm whelmed.
That's so good.
So I'm whelmed, and I feel grateful. And I walk into this space, and I think you got a good life for you and for me, and it's so amazing. Be in the sun, make art, serve people.
Yeah. No, I love it. I want to share a thing that I saw yesterday. We're in a group together, a mastermind group, and one of the members was having a challenging time, and she was presenting a thing, and it was really emotional for her. And when you're like in front of people and you just start getting self-conscious, and I've done this, I've completely humiliated myself in front of 400 people when I lost my train of thought. But she actually ran out of the room because she was just had to gather herself, And I know you didn't know her, but everyone in the room was like, what did I say? Everyone was kind of, but it was so beautiful. You just got up, you just went out there, and I knew that you were like, I got this. I'm just gonna sit with her. And I know you don't even know her, and I'm sure you didn't say a thing, but it was just such a beautiful response to somebody in need of just being held. Mm-hmm. That was amazing. You just got up and went there. What was going through your mind?
She needed somebody, and that is my way. It's just my way. It's it's who's hurting, who's hungry, who's having an inner child issue. And I also felt, because I didn't know her, I felt this freedom to just go you guys continue to do your thing.
Yeah.
And I got this. You guys do the business. I'll go do the part right now.
Yeah. Because everyone was approaching it from their head, and a lot of people felt, and it wasn't a big deal, but there is this thing, did I cause something? And there's because we're not used to this, it's like, well, what do we do? And what do we say? And it's just so matters of the heart, it's your terrain. And I just love that you just served. Yeah. So the question I have for you, and we can dive in, go for it. Is this, we care, you care. This was, for me, a challenging thing was I was really very sensitive. I love helping people, but it took me a while to help myself. And you're able to, the boundaries, the things, how do you balance all that? And how do you coach that? I know maybe just tell us all the things you do. I mean, you work, you have groups, you have your heart-centered groups. Tell us about that. You're coaching people in the matters of the heart, finding their way back to themselves.
That's great. That's great copy. I need to write that down. I have heart-centered membership. And there's a life track where I have a kind of a curriculum. We do a workshop every month that's all about body, mind, spirit support. So like one workshop will be on shadow work and inner child work. Another one will be on forgiving. Another one will be on the energetics of healing. And then we keep those teachings going throughout the month. And then there's a business track. And so a few times a month we talk about creativity, heart-centered leadership. I don't believe in writer's block, but sometimes people want to talk about writer's block.
What do you mean
Talk
you don't believe
team
in
building.
you just
I think, can I start painting?
yeah, go for it.
I think that, I think we as a culture are addicted to productivity. And so we get out of sync with the ebb and the flow. People don't trust the ebbs, that we should be passionate and productive all the time, crushing it, hacking it, the metrics, all the things.
Yeah.
And I think
The
there's
optimization of every friggin' moment.
everything.
Yeah.
15 minutes. They got 15 minutes. Just
Which is
relax.
so exhausting.
Yeah.
This is a natural, like we've just convinced ourselves that we're supposed to be 24/7 on and productive. And if you have a spare moment,
Right.
you need to be making a thing. And we beat ourselves up a little bit. If
The
we're not.
creativity is always there. I think we're never, if there isn't an idea there, just be in the ebb. Be in the ebb. And, the times where I push myself to make things when I didn't feel like making things, it's not as good. It's not as connected. I redo it. I got to go back. I wish I would have gone more with fallow times. Like, this is a
That's so
time
good.
for
fallow,
rest.
right? Because fallow field is not a dead field. It's a field that's, is that right? Like fallow means that they're going to plant it.
So the field is resting. The field is
Resting,
resting. Just let the field rest. Like, I grew up on a farm, and there were times where you actually burn the fields. You burn the crops at the end just to let the soil kind of reset. You chart it. And like, there's nothing productive. You just take it down. I'm also a big fan of destruction. Like, I love burning stuff down. Burned my company down last year. I am great at letting go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a
Purge
is a strong word, but I love the purge.
And how did you learn to let it burn, let it go, like just to destroy? Like that's pretty. I mean, I do it, but I'm certainly pushed to it, and then I'm like, hell, I'm burning it down, But that's pretty amazing.
I think I have whatever's inbuilt. I love simplicity. The further I get in life, the more I crave simplicity. It's healthy. I wouldn't say it's an obsession, but spirituality for me is all about simplicity. Like, being simple has become a spiritual practice.
Yeah.
And I feel the closer I get to a heart-centered life and my higher self, the less I want. I mean, we have a practice in our membership that, it's about clearing space, your physical stuff, but approaching it from a really multi-dimensional perspective. So it's like, I am made of the same stuff as this paint, and I respect that. So I'm going to organize my stuff. I'm going to bless my paint. I'm going to see this paintbrush. This comes from the earth. So do I. I'm sustained because of the mother.
Wow.
And I let go of anything I haven't used in 6 to 12 months, save for like my winter sweaters. And I bless my things. And when you're doing that, you're organizing your things. I go, I think now there's space. I really respect what I have.
Yeah.
And there's space for energy, the energy of soul, of light, of life force, of prana, to now flow through my stuff.
Yeah.
I've created actual physical space. Mm-hmm. And I've had a mindful moment with my stuff.
Yeah.
And I do that in my wardrobe. I mean, it sounds OCD.
No. It's tidying up in the most simplest, benign way. I mean, in a pedestrian way, but it is the attention, the awareness you bring, and into. I mean, it's like, and I get this. I can arrange things on my table. If there's consciousness and I put things in a certain way that feels more like me, I can then look at the table and I don't get stuck anywhere. It's all consumable it's like, it's all even. But if there's a tangle or the cord that's going to knock over the cup of tea with it's like, and I don't know if that's what you mean, but it's like,
Yes.
it's like a feng shui of arrangement with awareness. And like I can take 7 things and I can put them in a way that gives me energy and doesn't take it away, and certainly throw away the things that I don't belong.
This works for relationships. I mean, this is a metaphor for communicating, right? So it's like, if you're mindful, if you can be in some stillness, if you really are committed to like emotional intimacy,
Yeah.
you're gonna say, where's the tangle in the relationship right now? I wasn't.
Does it feel?
I didn't look you in the eye before I left today, or I said that thing, or you said that thing, and that felt like a little crunchy. And it's just like, let's get our stuff. Let's get our stuff in piles. Yeah. So when do we want to talk about this? Oh, let's have a little ritual for this. Let's have a Friday check-in for this. Let's just notice. Let's just notice. Let's just notice.
So in a way, that what do you call? What's your word for that?
Well, I call the process gracing my space. It's the grace your space process. Yeah.
But it's really your life.
It's my life.
Okay.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. Like, there's nothing. I don't want to buy mindlessly, and then you have to look at this through a meta global perspective, which is, we have a epidemic of overconsumption, of retail therapy. Mother Earth is choking on our unhealed stuff because we go and we buy and we fill the hole to impress people who really aren't interested in loving us unconditionally. And so there's nothing in my home for sure that I haven't thought about.
Yeah.
Everything has a story. Like, this is, when I go into someone's place, this is all my judgy, spiritual bypassing stuff. But, I am always thinking, why is that a vase from Pier 1? Is that just to fill space?
Yeah, right.
No space filling. Just like no idle conversation, no, you don't want junk. You don't want junk conversation. You don't want junk stuff in your space.
You want everything matters.
Everything matters. And that's also how I feel when I create visual art. Like, we're talking right now, but this is already a story.
Yeah.
I know what that line means.
And it's interesting how you start, because I noticed the other day, you start from calm every time. Like I don't, but you start with like, it's this calm place, and then things start coming in.
Yeah.
It's just something, yeah.
Yeah.
So you were saying about, because I know you were saying you've kind of simplified now, and your art's kind of on a hold. You're painting anyway. But tell me about that. Tell us about that.
About 2 years ago, no, it's more than that, 4 years ago now, when the world really buckled with the world health situation, and I was asking myself some deeper questions, I really got into simplicity mode. So I asked myself, Nobody knew what was going on when everything started to happen. Am I going to die? Do we have a life-threatening situation? Maybe I need to be willing to die. Don't really want to die. I have a son. I would like to see him through. Do I need to give up my career? Okay, I could do that. I could live off of sell my house, get a little apartment with parquet floors and grow basil on the windowsill. And that was the vision. And I thought about, okay, what are my very intense desires? And I wanted to be partnered. I wanted to meet my beloved. And I decided I was going to let that go too.
Wow.
And then that was followed by like a major letting go of stuff. Like I sold my house. I got rid of my car. Like I just do car share now. I walk the city.
This was in COVID?
Yeah.
This shedding occurred.
Yeah. Huh. It took about 3 years, but that's really when it began. I got rid of most of my high heels, a lot of my speaking gig garb. And I really did that in earnest. Like it was legit. I'm actually going to use a color. Oh my God, just because I'm with you.
Yeah, this is it.
And it was a bit of the cat came back the very next day. But I think because of that willingness, sometimes when we're willing really deeply, like on a cellular level, willing to let it go, for real, let it go, you don't have to let it go.
Yeah.
It's like you're just saying to the universe, I got what it takes. I will go the distance, whatever, thy will be done, whatever you ask of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why would I not do what I do in terms of a career? Like my dharma, I am built for this. I'm going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
I felt like it would be disrespectful to my soul, to creation, to not do what I do. And then I was like, I totally want to be partnered. Well, I don't know, what was I thinking? And then I doubled down on that.
Do you think you felt a little disillusioned in that time, or, stay a long time in a cardboard box and things don't feel as possible? I mean, we were all kind of, our thinking was smaller maybe because we were smaller.
I feel like everything that's gone on in the last 4 years has been this call, this compression from the divine to have us let go of shit. And that, like, we were all headed somewhere together. The image I got was like, we are going over these rapids and we have to let stuff go in order to make it. And so that's where I just consider, what are all the things from, my life to my desires to my stuff. Then I doubled down on the desires. I was like, okay, they're still here. But something really beautiful happened in that, which was I really felt like I was taking a gamble on myself. Like, my conversation with the divine was, I feel this is right for me. So thy will be done, but I'm going to step in. I'm going to really take radical responsibility for my life. And maybe this is wrong. Maybe this isn't what you want for me. And I'm really going to incur some karma and really seriously mess this up. But I'm going to gamble on myself that what I desire is actually aligned with the divine. So bring me my guy, and I want him in the next few months. It's been long enough, and I would like for him to be local. And prior to that, I'd been 8 years single-ish.
You put your order in with the universe.
I put my order. I really claimed it. But, for all of us interested in manifesting, the letting go had to be legit, serious. I really got to the bone of it. My life is good. It is full of love. Maybe God wants me to just live a kind of urban, monastic, arty life. Mm-hmm. And I will do that. Maybe I'm not meant to be super prosperous in the material realm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And then, the old Zen saying, the barn now that the barn is burnt down, I can see the moon. So I burned it. And
Wow. And that was in your business, you know, people who worked with you, like a whole bunch of stuff changed in your business, your home.
the business, what I got clear on at that point was I'm going to stay in. I'm going to do this writing, speaking, I'm going to be Danielle.
Yeah, I mean, you've got all these amazing books and so
Yeah,
that wasn't going
I'm
away.
going to keep being c'est moi. And, but then it's been, I would say, really up until this week, still a lot of letting go. But I've loved the material letting go. Like, I went from this really rad pad with an art studio.
In Vancouver.
In Vancouver.
Was it a city place or a country place?
It was like, it's East Vancouver. Everybody calls it East Van. And it was an old 107-year-old house that had been gutted before I got there and was really mod. And then I turned the garage into a painting studio. And part of it too was with my dude, as women dream, as we all dream and we want to be partnered. And I got this rad pad. And when I meet my king, he's going to be so into this pad. And
you're almost like building it with this person in mind.
Oh, totally. And I did meet my king, and he was like, I'm so not into this. And I was like, but I have a hot tub. What are you talking about?
Oh my God, that's what I did. I built a hot tub. First thing I put in this house that I've been working on, and luckily my person came and she loves hot tubs. And I said, I was thinking of you, not that I scored on all the other fronts in terms of the things that I'd done to the house, the lighting. It's like, why would you buy that? And it's like, well, that's a really good question.
Lighting.
But wow, so a big no on the
Big
dream
no.
pad.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So just more letting go.
Yeah.
And what I know about letting go is that you actually can't let anything go because you created it, it existed. Letting go is actually all about integration. And
Okay, so unpack that.
well, let's talk about like romantic letting go. Most people can relate to the agony of that. Or even letting someone go in your business, also a different kind of agony,
Mm-hmm.
And when there's pain, which is often associated with letting go, we kind of do this push away. Like, I'm gonna get you out of my life, ghost you, block you, burn your stuff, we don't talk anymore, burn the contract, all of that. And sometimes all of that is required, but it actually won't leave you energetically. It's not gonna leave you mentally until you bless it.
Yeah. Until you get really close back in. It's almost like an intimacy that you have to go back in close, as comfortable it is to let it go.
Yes. Yeah. So you get grateful. You see everything. This was my role. This was their role. Oh, without this shitty pain, I wouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
And I release this. I release your involvement and you not being awesome. I release my lack of awesomeness. All guilt, you're absolved. And sometimes you're just releasing a dynamic in the relationship. Like, I release this passive-aggressive pattern we have. I want to keep you, but I want to release the pattern. And then sometimes you're just like, the push is required. Like, we are complete. You do not have jurisdiction anymore here.
Yeah.
But until you do that, forget it. It's going to come back. You're going to mind loop. The person will keep showing up in dreams. People in your life will keep bringing up the situation. It's not clean.
Yeah.
So thank you. Bless. Now bye.
So you kind of did that to a lot of parts of your things that you had set up.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of spiritual practice is about letting go. So like cleansing, and of course there's a dark side to this, but cleansing is a big part of my life. Like,
Oh, really?
blessing and releasing and salt baths, and you write it down and you burn it and you offer it up, and yeah.
So people in, you're coaching a life, a heart-centered way of being more in your heart, which really it is just being more at home in themselves, right? I mean, and coming from love and coming from gratitude,
Yes. In their true self, more at home.
yeah, the true self, which is
True
love.
identity.
Yeah.
Yeah, your true identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's, a challenge to bring that awareness to people that at the heart of who they are divine, beautiful and love. And it took me a long time to understand, to forgive myself, but actually to see that like I'm a ton of love, really.
Yeah, you
But
are
it,
love.
but it took a long
Nicholas,
time. It was like, oh my God.
how'd you forgive yourself?
How did I what?
Forgive yourself.
Well, it was actually, I did a ayahuasca journey, and I had awareness of this and everything, but I was going through a really hard patch in my life, and I couldn't square, I had been with the same, partner my whole life. We were, my first wife and we were friends very young, and we were married, we had kids, and so close. And that relationship kind of ended, and I was trying to start another. And I thought I had a problem because I still loved, and I still do, the person that I grew up with and lived with and had kids with, truly. And I loved this new person, and it was obviously a conflict for her, and I thought I was defective, and I just like, I'm not equipped. I don't know how to like honestly let go of this thing, to this relationship. I'm in the middle, and I'm not divorced. That's the problem, but what I got was that I had so much love when I really took the blinders off, that I was overflowing with love. I had more love. I couldn't believe it. I was in tears. Right. So it wasn't that I needed to measure it out. It seems so obvious now, but it was literally, I am love. We all are love, and it was just my way of thinking that I had to have it had to end here and start there. So that was that was my inquiry in going into that journey, and it was just such a mirror. It was incredible to experience that. It changed everything, and I was able to resolve all the challenges I had, and feel good, feel like I wasn't less than. I actually was perfect. I was a loving person. It's not about who you love, it's just that you love. That changed everything for me. Yeah.
That's it.
But I know that, I'm just curious what are the ways you teach people, and they're coming to you and they're trying to do businesses, and like, I would think this is at the core of what you're teaching, this realization, coming from love. Like how does this come into like, okay, I'm trying to like get a 6-figure business going, or I'm wanting to,
One, there's commitment. So I'm there to just like inspire and encourage commitment. Like, you've got to want it. You've got to be curious in the truth of yourself. You've got to be, you got to commit to seeking. And that seeking has practices to back it up. It's like, are you going to be intentional about your thoughts and your speech and your actions? Like, really become the creator of your life.
Yeah.
All right, then let's observe our thoughts. Let's think higher vibration thoughts. Start from there. Let's be really intentional and mindful of the words that we're using. What do you call yourself when you mess up?
Yeah.
How do you repeatedly refer to somebody else that hurt you? What's the stuff that you're ingesting into your mind? What are the lyrics in training
What's the story, right?
the story, the media, the movies, all of that information, that entertainment, those visuals are just as important as, gluten and sugar consumption and toxins.
Yeah.
So, yeah, have a higher desire, want to know your higher self, want to be love. Okay, and then let's do practices to help us see that, be that, know that. And then I just cheer everybody on. And there's different, it's all make your own, what's the phrase? Choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Like meditation, contemplation looks different for all of us.
Yeah. And it's going to, whatever you're needing to learn, it's going to show up. You're going to create a business, or you're going to have a relationship that teaches you the thing, or it just depends, whatever is come in that they have to like resolve these things on.
Well, and particularly with business, I mean, people, what I see is, this has been a while, is, oh my gosh, the contortion, the masking, the performing, all to be loved and to be accepted. And I've had a lot of conversations about goal setting and success. And, I wrote a book about a holistic approach to goal setting, and how many people, it's interesting. We can be in a mastermind with people who are, balling and making the business happen. Or I could be in a self-help workshop, and it's the same themes. You could be making your 7 figures, your whatevs. You could be selling out your art shows, your products, and be in pursuit of all that from your wounded self.
Right.
I've talked to elite athletes who just like, I was like, this sport really isn't my thing. And I got the award, and I realized it's just because I wanted my father to tell me that he loved me.
Yeah, right. I describe it. What is the thing under the thing?
What's the thing under the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the things under the things.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
No, I think of it, at least this has been my experience. I make stuff, and my art or business or whatever, and then I can get it really good, but then it gets ahead of me, and I'm not yet, I'm not equipped to go further, even though that part, the business or the things are like, I have to catch up. And then sometimes I'm ahead of the art, and it's frustrating because it's not at that level. There's like this tag team thing. And I think that's just, you were talking about that earlier, where that's the creative block. That's basically, you've got to take a pause to catch up. You need time, or
You need to integrate.
Yeah, that's great. That's a perfect way to describe it. Yeah.
What do you do when you don't like what you've created?
Well, this is where I'm really comfortable burning down. I will destroy. I will be like, it brings me to a place where I just have to step it up. That's the invitation. It just means I'm fussing around too much. And so I just get more connected to the fire inside of me. It's literally like that. It's the come from. And it's like, I'm making this, and I'm going to push on it and change it. And because it's so frustrating to make work that feels like you're afraid to change it. I can spot it. I can see it in other people's work, and I can see it in my own. It's the worst, because it's never
Afraid to change it.
Yeah, like the work feels like that. Like, it's a crowd pleaser, but you didn't take a chance here. You didn't give up anything. You didn't lose it to find it again.
What are you thinking about when you're painting?
I'm thinking a lot about what we're talking about. I'm looking at this, for example, and I'm seeing it doesn't have. It's in this place where it's cool. There's interesting things, but this isn't so great what I've done here, so I don't really like it. And something needs to happen in a bigger way because I've been the same kind of person for too long here. It's habitual. I'm kind of same. So it's an energy thing. So what will bring up the energy is this, like this is like, okay, bring it on. And this is the metaphor, right? Of, like now uncertainty and risk and change is happening at a higher space, and it's certainly interesting. There is the chance of letting it all go and burning it down, but if I make something with all the ranges of all the differences, with all the ways of myself, like this is part of me, the work will feel bigger because it's got more of me in it, and my capacity to let go. Like this is my favorite part now. Like this just became my favorite part, like that part, And I used to love all of this, but like that's really cool. So it's the letting go that, we used to have this saying in our workshops where you don't want to fall in love in your work. You're just dating. You're not getting married. So if you're dating, it means that you're like, hey, don't order for me. So you're just dating. You want to feel free in this thing you're making and not get stuck in, well, this is what I always do, and it's got to be a certain way, because that's the practice. If we can be free, if we can be ourselves, and this is my backwards way of coaching artists, I get them so they're themselves. Just like you do, you're reminding them of themselves. You're bringing them back to themselves. But when you make art from that place, then the art's amazing and the art's different and it feels like them and it doesn't look like anyone else's art. And in the fine art world, authenticity and unique kind of expression that doesn't exist is the currency. Like that's kind of like how you make a career, So
It's like in writing, you say you have to be willing to kill your darlings.
yes, right.
Gosh. Okay.
And you love writing, right? You're such an amazing
I
writer.
I love writing.
Yeah.
I love just getting that one paragraph. Right.
How do you write? I'm curious. From a selfish sort of like I'm learning to write. I'm writing, but I'm always curious. I just developed my own kind of way of doing it. I'm just curious how you have an idea, or you just want to like.
I like to write out the spine of the idea in hand first, pencil. My favorite pencil, my moleskin. And I just get like, how am I going to begin? How am I going to end?
Wow.
And then I write pretty quickly.
And this is a story? You write books to
I don't write any fiction. Everything is self-helpy, wisdom-y, how-to-y, methodology.
Okay.
You know what I learned? Did you ever read Twyla Tharp's The Creative Habit?
Yeah.
Okay. Have the creative spine. So if I'm writing a book, longer piece, a book or a course, always start with the spine.
Like the through line.
The through line.
Yeah.
And I always work with the ingredients I have. So like when it comes time to write a book or a course, it's already there. I've posted about it. I've blogged about it. It's on a sticky note. It was in an Instagram feed. By the time it comes time to do a bigger piece, I'm really just curating my last 6 to 24 months of
So
stuff.
it's almost like you're sampling this idea in your everyday.
Yes.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
always say to people, creatives and entrepreneurs, like, your life really is your content. Never, ever, ever start with a blank page, ever. Like, even if people come and they want to create a course or something, it's like, okay, what have you been talking to your clients about? What are you, the people in your life thanking you about? What have you been saving for years? What are you,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love that.
And then you have to really, I always say I worship at the altar of word economy. Like, I really want to not waste anybody's time. And that, there's a dark side and there's a light side to that. So it's like, the downside of that is my stuff can be really dense. So if I ever do get edited, usually an editor will say to me, like, Danielle, can you break that paragraph into like 3 paragraphs? Because that is so packed. There's so many concepts in that one paragraph. And I think, yeah, isn't that awesome? I got so many concepts in that one paragraph. Just read it 3 times. That's my response.
Not my problem.
That's right. Just read it over again. Didn't you get it? We're like, okay, I can turn that into 3 paragraphs or a page. When I'm working on a bigger piece, there's always overflow. So like the next post or the stuff that's on the cutting room floor is going to live somewhere. I waste nothing. It's a lot like cooking. Like I make use of all of the vegetables somehow, somewhere.
Wow.
Even if it's just one great paragraph that is holding me back. So I think, oh, that's the juice right there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's making everything really complex. I'll take the juice out and I put that paragraph somewhere else. And, in terms of all these ways we can express ourselves now, Instagram and YouTube and in posts and books and all of it, there's a place for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just put your salad somewhere else.
Is this like, the challenges of social media and right, like you're serving a lot of people and you have an audience and you're putting content out. Is this a workaround? I mean, this feels pretty organic and kind of lovely. You just live your life and the byproduct is artifacts everywhere. And it's like, post that there, put that there. And people kind of love it because it's authentic and it's not forced.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a cool way of approaching it.
That's a cool way of looking at it. Yeah, I live my life. Like, for the longest time, I never said I was a writer, even though I had multiple books. I just feel like
kidding.
Not a writer.
Why?
Not a writer.
Why?
I am a seeker who happens to write. I write about what I'm looking for. I write about what I found, and I hope it's helpful. That. And
I'm writing about what I'm looking for. That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, what's coming up for you? And I know, like, what are you excited about? What's the new thing? I know your life's simple now. You're living with your love. You're on the water in Vancouver, and you don't have an art studio, which I'll bug you about. But what's next? What's coming up next? You're excited about?
What's next is depth. Like, my word right now, and maybe for the rest of my life, is nurturing. And you were saying earlier about, like, you have to catch up with your stuff, catch up with your creation.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm catching up with my community. Like, I have this beautiful membership of people, and and I feel some grief for not have serving them as deeply as I could. Like, I was distracted with other things, and like, I have these hundreds and hundreds of people showing up for community and guidance. And I'm just like, oh, you're good. I'm going to go write a book while I serve you. And now it's like, no, the sauce is with the people.
Yeah.
And I've really fallen in love with people. Part of it, too, is I used to over-identify as an introvert, which I really think was just this ego trip of, the mind keeping me separate from things. Like, if I have this identity as an introvert, then I don't have to talk to everybody. I don't have to go to all the parties.
Yeah.
I get to leave early everywhere I go.
Right.
And and I started to unpack, like, all of these different labels that we have, like all the personality tests. Like, I'm an INFJ, I'm an Enneagram 4 with a 3 wing. All these things are valuable. They're valuable tools to get to know, like, the bigger self, but the dark side is they can keep you in your smaller self. Well, because I'm a 4 on the Enneagram, I don't do this and I do that. And everybody else bothers me because I'm this way.
Yeah.
You really start
Right,
to divide the world up into, this works for me, these are my boundaries, these are my expectations, and this doesn't work for me. It's this. It's the push.
Right.
And so I was like, well, I'm not going to let my introversion stand in my way. And I may be a 4, but I'm actually this vast soul who is love itself. And I don't have to be hemmed in by all these labels.
Yeah.
Whether, I had lots of labels around being an entrepreneur. Like, we think we need, we get a modicum of success, and you think you need to wear the certain things and say the certain things, and
those presenter on stage outfits.
Yeah. And you come up with your stage story all the time.
Yeah.
So what's next is simplifying in all ways has allowed me to go deeper. So I've radically simplified my business too. And I am super lit up to take care of and grow the people, and therefore this Heart Center membership. I feel like things are just going to get potentially more wobbly in the world. Mm-hmm. And I really want to be a place of refuge.
That's great.
And then I've started my own mastermind. So that is,
wow.
Yeah, like just a few days ago, we announced it. So it's filling, but about 15, maybe even 20 years ago, I was living in Santa Fe, and I wrote a tiny little list that I carried in my wallet for years. My purpose for money. My purpose for money. Because I thought, I really want to rock this. I want to rock my career. I want to go get book deals. I want to do this. But it had to have meaning.
Yeah.
And I wanted to buy a house in Santa Fe. And I wanted to make conscious art in multi-forms. Could be writing. And I wanted to help, I wanted to support conscious businesses. And I thought it would be as like an investor someday. And that actually doesn't appeal to me very much at all. But now I'm super stoked. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons I didn't start a mastermind is because I'm into scaling. So I'm a broadcaster. Like I always, with my therapist, I always say, how do you do this one-on-one work and have it be fulfilling? Like, don't you want to talk to 10,000 people every 15 minutes, right? And that's just the way I'm designed. And I used to think, I had to kind of learn to love that part of myself that was into broadcasting instead of this.
You're like an introvert that wants to broadcast.
Yes. Yeah. And I've set my life up for that. I live a very simple, quiet life, but I have a megaphone,
Yeah, that's awesome.
But with doing a mastermind, what clicked for me is I can really support other people with megaphones. So it's like if I can help a naturopath or a painter or a coach or a purse maker do their business in a way that heals them, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And then helps other people, heals other people.
Yeah.
Because commerce has screwed us. It's one of the reasons. I'd say it's the instrument of toxic patriarchy. It's soul crushing. It's wreaking havoc on the ecosystem. And the cure is always in the pain. So commerce has the capacity to turn all this around. Like if we all did business in heart-centered ways, we would clean up the planet. We would not be led by our unhealed stuff.
Right.
People would get paid what they're worth. We would have clean drinking water in Flint, Michigan, and in northern Canada. So I'm super turned on by the capacity for the art, not so much the science, but the art of business to heal the artist and the
and those it impacts.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
and
beautiful. First for yourself, and then, I mean, it's my journey has been figuring something out for myself and healing myself with it, and it came about through trauma, and then you course correct, and then you learn, and then you can help other people, and it's this beautiful.
you're a great example. I mean, look at the healing you've gone through in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
And a lot of that happened through various kinds of relationships. I think all healing happens through relationship, pleasant or unpleasant. And then look how many more people. Look at all these people. I don't know if anybody, like, the members and
yeah,
CVP on this board, it's like you heal and you become this beacon. And attracting, manifesting lots of people to serve customers doesn't always mean that someone has their shit together, that they're aligned,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Manifesting is just, it's a science. But I'm interested in heart-centered manifesting.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So if people want to, is this a membership that anybody obviously can come in, or how do you know if it's a right fit?
Oh, everybody's welcome. Um, every once in a while you get someone who's just like, huh, interesting choice. And,
Right.
I was at Agape once, Michael Beckwith's church in LA.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I was in the back office and someone was saying, we kind of got this kooky pants person who's, we have to deal with now
Cookie pants.
in the congregation,
I gotta write that down. Cookie
And
pants.
and Michael just kind of whizzed by and he said, it's a spiritual hospital. And I think we really need to approach more
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
a spiritual hospital. Yeah.
You'll do. Anybody. We're all just.
The door is open.
Yeah, beautiful.
All good souls. Yeah.
You know, in kind of wrapping up here, I had this, each year for me has I think a lot about it, and like, what is the word that summarizes my year or is gonna feel like, and I've had different years, and it affects my shows, it affects everything ultimately, but this was the year of the heart. And I just think it's so interesting. And I sort of forgot, but and you're sitting here, and a year ago you wouldn't have been sitting here. I mean, this is just, when I think of a person who lives with and in and brings this out in others, I think of you. And so I was like, wow, this is kind of a small little miracle that we're sitting here. So thank you for coming. It was just really, really special for me to interview. You've been a big influence in my life and all your books. And you guys will have I didn't list all the books, all the things. We'll have all her books listed in the show notes, and obviously links if you want to check out her cool membership. And that's the best way to find you, just on Instagram, or what do you do?
Yeah, DanielleLaPorte.com.
Okay.
And I do twice a month a newsletter called Sacred Weekends, and that's like a good entry point.
Oh, okay.
It's fun.
Oh, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Nicholas.
Okay, you guys, and before I go, I just want to remind you once again that we've announced our destination retreats. They're going to be in October. They're 8 days, 7 nights, and this year we're going to Morocco and Mexico. These are designed to cause a really powerful transformation, a shift in your thinking, and ultimately your creative expression. It's all about finding the truest version of you using art. You'll be with an amazing group of like-minded creatives. A lot of the spots are taken already, but we still have room, and these are so much fun. We will be having great connecting talks. The food's extraordinary. They're in beautiful places, both of these, and I'll be there. Obviously, I'll be bringing my creative team of coaches and facilitators. And it's just about deepening your awareness and connection to your truest self, which enables stronger, more authentic art and life. You'll be making a ton of art, and
So if you're interested, again, artlifedream.com, check it out. And thanks so much. Okay.